Many thanks for your time here on News Today. To our very first story, and Chief of Staff Julius Deborah has directed the Attorney General to review the contract and associated payments in the spraying and branding of 116 new intra-city buses. Now, a letter dated December 17, 2015 to the Attorney General Marietta Brewer-Pierpont has asked that a probe be conducted into the controversial deal and findings communicated by close of day December 21, 2015. Kobna Amprechum has details of that particular statement.
Before I see what it says, you know, this whole 3.6 million saga has been something people have criticized a lot. Yesterday, there was someone on a radio virtually crying for the future of the kids because she thinks that we are not putting our resources to good use. And I think the presidency probably has heard this, and this morning the Chief of Staff has ordered the review of the contract. He has actually written to the Attorney General that this the contracts be reviewed, and then we look at how much we spent and if it was value for the money. And in that directive, let me quote what part of the letter said. He said, by this letter, you are directed, that is the Attorney General, to review the contract and the associated payments and revert without fail with your findings to my office by the close of day 22nd December 2015. So what he's saying is he should have the review from the Attorney General by the 22nd of December. So hopefully, moving on, we will be able to find out why government paid that amount of money for it and if it was really value for money.
So aside this, this letter does not really state whether or not they are to investigate and find out whether the invoice presented was genuine or there was something else, or it's just about we investigating it and prosecuting?
Yes, and what I have been speaking to experts about this, and what they are saying is probably missing is, was this something we needed to do? Okay, and they are questioning how we put our oil resources to use. I've been speaking with the CDD, and beyond finding out whether this was value for money, they think that the government must also find out why the managers of this money decided to put this in that. Was this something we needed at this crucial time in the economy when there are a whole lot of issues, state institutions are not getting the needed funds to operate and all that? Do you think we should go beyond this to question that, that as well?
The Public Utilities and Regulatory Commission, PURC, has filed a motion with the High Court seeking to set aside a writ challenging the propriety of a recent hike in electricity prices. Now, the Commission insists the issues which the plaintiffs, that is the Consumer Protection Agency and its head, Kofi Kapito, came to court with are matters of interpretation which can only be dealt with at the Supreme Court. It is therefore asking the court to throw away the case of the plaintiffs on the basis of lack of jurisdiction. Kofi Kapito late last week filed a writ at the High Court questioning the fairness and legality of a 59% hike in electricity prices scheduled to take effect on Monday, December 14, 2015. He stated, among other things, the hikes were insensitive and did not take into consideration the current plight of consumers under the load shedding regime. 4 other companies, including the Volta River Authority, the Electricity Company of Ghana, and the Ghana Grid Company Limited, were also roped in the suit. Let's talk health now. And the management of the Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital is assuring healthcare delivery has not been compromised following agitations by members of the Senior Staff Association. Now, the association wants the Chief Executive Officer sacked, accusing him of mismanagement and disrespect to staff. Now, speaking with Joy News Public Relations Officer of the hospital, Mustafa Saleh, who said all the issues will be addressed at a press conference on Monday. He's been speaking to my colleague, Beatrice Edu.
What is happening is that we've taken a look at all the issues. So far, we have not received any formal communications from them. But we have gleaned from the media some of the issues that they are raising. And then on Monday, the board and the hospital management will be holding a press conference to address the various issues that we have gleaned from the media. And I'm sure that will satisfy the reading and discerning public. You know, a lot of people are worried what is happening in the hospital. I would think we'll put all those issues to rest on Monday when we meet with the press.
So far, what are the issues you've picked from the media as the reason these senior staff members are agitating?
There are a number of issues. I think we on the last count, there were as many as 9 or 10 different issues that are raising from mismanagement of the hospital's resources, from the funding of personal travels of the CEO by the hospital, and then the lack of reagents and other matters. So these are issues that we are going to look at in depth on Monday, and we don't want to preempt. We wouldn't want to give out a lot. We want you to come on Monday. We'll have all the leadership and board members around to clarify issues.
Tell us, I'm sure even before you address the media on Monday, the hospital has done its own preliminary investigation. What have you picked up?
You know, this is part of the content of the press conference, and we don't want to take the we don't want you to take the wind out of our sails. Let's come on Monday, and then there will be nothing that you ask that we will not provide answers to.
Have you found out whether what is happening in the hospital is in a way affecting healthcare delivery, and how you intend to deal with it even before the issues are completely dealt with?
You know, patients still come. If you go to the various clinics,
not in terms of the numbers, but whether you think what is happening in the hospital, based on what they said, is affecting their service delivery, and how you intend to deal with that immediately, at least before this whole issue is resolved.
We cannot say. I mean, they started making granting media interviews from last week to now. We can't. We haven't actually conducted any survey to see whether that is actually affecting care delivery by us, or whether patients are also thinking otherwise in coming to Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital. But I can tell you a lot of progress has been made, and then we'll be disclosing the details of these to you on Monday at the press conference.
So at least as of now, you can't say that this has affected healthcare delivery?
No, not at all. I mean, judging by what we see at the clinics from last week and then this week, I think this has not negatively impacted on care delivery in the hospital.
So patients are receiving the standard care?
Patients are receiving care.
Now, tension is brewing in Asamankese in the eastern region following a protest by a group calling itself the Asamankese Youth and Development Association against the Ochehene Osajefo Amotia Ofoepeni. Now, the youth are accusing Osajefo of breaching some customs and traditions of the land. Correspondent Kofi Sian joins me over the telephone lines now with more on this particular story. So, Kofi, what are the exact allegations being leveled against the chief?
Asamankese Youth and Development Association, the Ochehene for some time now has supervised the elevation of some chiefs who they describe as inappropriate. According to them, he breached traditional rules and customs, and that he didn't use the right procedures in doing so. So I have with me Ampem Dakun, who is the spokesperson of the Youth Association in Asamankese. Mr. Ampem Dakun, tell us exactly what you mean by Ochehene breaching traditional rules and customs.
Yeah, you see, according to Atimabuakwa procedure, we have a chain of command. That is, when a chief is to be elevated, it must pass through the channel. That is, his immediate superior must recommend the person to his also immediate superior before finally it reaches Ochehene for such elevation to take place. But in this situation, it was a reverse one. Asamankese, who is the immediate superior to the person who was elevated, was not informed. Likewise, to our information, Asamankese superior, who is the Otiewo Hene, that's Wenchi Hene, was also not informed. All that we heard was that there was a Atimabuakwa Traditional Council meeting, that is Atimabuakwa State Council meeting, and that man was elevated. Worst of all is that that man is not a chief of any village.
For that one, we cannot substantiate. But he also makes allegations that the Ochehene has been supervising over, Galamsey and all that. Can you substantiate your claim?
Yeah, we are not saying actually that he is supervising Galamsey. But what we are saying is, just like the president, any good thing or bad is attributed to the president. And for that matter, if Galamsey business or whatever is going on at Achim, especially Chibi and its environs. And the Otini is our overlord, and he has stayed for some time, adamant for some time. Then we can say for a fact, not for a fact, I said, but we can say that he's conniving, or maybe he doesn't care about the welfare of the traditional area. That's why we say he may be part of.
Okay, so that is I'm from the question of the association.
Interesting.
Speaking with me.
Interesting. But Kofi, quickly, let me find out, has there been any response whatsoever from the traditional authorities?
Yeah, we are here to engage the traditional authorities as to, their response. So for now, this is the statement made by the Atamankete Youth and Development Association. So we will do that later on.
Many thanks for that. Indeed, many thanks for that update. And that was Edwin Kofi Siawa, correspondent with that particular information. You're watching News Today here on Joy News Multi TV. We are taking a break. We'll be back shortly with some more. Many thanks for staying with us here on News Today. Now to some more stories. And aid to developing countries such as Ghana is likely to see a significant fall due to the current migrant crisis in Europe. Now, projections suggest that countries that are having to accommodate the refugees will soon cut funds to developing countries like Ghana. Now, that's according to the program coordinator of the Ghana Refugee Board, Tetepadi, who believes the country might have to begin the process of considering other sources of funding immediately. Tetepadi was speaking this morning on the AM show.
The Ivorian refugees who were receiving food assistance stopped receiving food assistance. They're not getting any food anymore from the UNHCR and the World Food Programme.
Where are these persons who have run out of food, who are not getting food funding any longer?
Right. It's important to point out that not all the refugees were receiving food assistance. Those who were receiving food assistance were the Ivorian refugees, who have been with us since 2011, early 2011.
So before, how were they receiving the food assistance?
Well, the World Food Programme is responsible worldwide for assisting the UNHCR provide food for refugees. So the WFP was responsible for providing food.
Okay. And then how did it end? I mean, because food is an unending something. I couldn't imagine not eating the whole day today.
It is indeed. But what's happened with that, as you're probably aware, it's the same donors who are funding all the refugee programs all over the world who are assisting us. And with what is happening in areas like Syria, in places like Burundi, North Africa, it has become, those areas have become the priorities. And so the assistance is going more towards there.
Right, we can do some more stories right here on News Today here on Joy News Multi TV. Now, it launched the Accra Sewage Improvement Project, which will seek to connect all sewage into a... we'll bring you much more on that particular story later on. There seems to be a problem with our technical system. We'll bring you much more on this subsequently, but let's take some more stories, and we could make do with the NPP and its upcoming Congress. And but just before that as well, Deputy Minister of Communication, Ato Sapon, has told Parliament that monies owed the Electricity Company of Ghana has accounted for the stoppage of radio and television transmission to the Volta region. Now, according to the Deputy Minister, the state broadcaster, GBC, owes 720,000 Ghana cedis to the ECG in the last 4 years, resulting in power cuts to the transmission station. He was responding to questions on the floor of the House. Let's go to Parliament now and speak to our correspondent, Emmanuel, who is standing by with some more. So, Emmanuel, tell us much more about what has been going on in Parliament this morning.
Well, the Deputy Minister of Communication was summoned before the House because a member from the Volta region.
Emmanuel, if you can hear me. Hello, Emmanuel. Okay. So Emmanuel line seems to have dropped there, and Emmanuel is correspondent in Parliament, parliamentary correspondent. He was bringing us an update on the latest in Parliament today, but we seem to be having a bit of a challenge with our phone lines. We'll bring you much more on that later on, as and when we do have him. But to some more stories now, and an Accra Human Rights Court has thrown out an application by suspended MPP Chairman Paul Afoko seeking to prevent tomorrow's emergency extraordinary Congress from discussing his suspension. Kwachi Afrenioma was in court and joins me now on phone with details. Kwachi, can you hear me now? Okay, so Kwachi Afrenioma also can't hear me. We will take a break. When we come back, we'll fix our lines and bring you much more on all that has been happening here in Ghana. This is News Today. Thanks for staying with us here on News Today. We can now go back to Parliament, where we are told that the Deputy Minister of Communications, Atosapon, has been telling Parliament about the kind of debts owed ECG, leading to the stoppage of radio and television transmission to the Volta region as regards to transmission from the Ghana television. We can now go to Parliament and speak to correspondent Emmanuel Ante, who's standing by. Emmanuel, you are telling me much more about what the Minister has been saying.
Yeah, he was saying that the state broadcaster, that's GBC, owes ECG an amount of 720,000 Ghana cedis, and that spans between now and the last 4 years, and that has resulted in the stoppage of the transmission. There's cut supplies to the transmission station in the Volta region of GBC, and that has resulted in the people of Volta region not being able to. But he says at the moment they are in talks with the ECG management as to the mode of payment, so that they will quickly find some money somewhere to pay the debt so they can restore power to their transmission station. They asked whether why they could not use the internally generated funds to solve these issues, and he raised issues of financial mismanagement by the management of the GBC in the Volta region, and that, as a result, they have decreed that all internally generated funds must be transferred to the national headquarters, that's in Accra, and if there is any payment to be made, they will do the payment from there. But the people or the national management has not been able to fulfill its mandate by paying the debt of the ECG. So he says they are investigating the matter to see how this happened. But in the interim, they are engaging the ECG in a meeting to decide on the mode of payment.
Many thanks for that update. Emmanuel Ante joining us live from Parliament. And away from Parliament, let's do politics. And the New Patriotic Party seems ready for tomorrow's extraordinary Congress in the Blonahafo regional capital, Sunyani. And that's actually this weekend. Correspondent Precious Semevo has been monitoring the situation and preparations so far. He joins us live now over the telephone. Precious, tell us much more about preparations so far.
Well, if you can hear me, preparation is still ongoing ahead of tomorrow's Congress at the Coronation Park here in Sunyani. Now, the stages are being mounted by the men from national and then regional level. There is also businesses, booming because people are selling paraphernalia of the party around the Coronation Park. The town is flooded with party flags. Almost every single electricity pole that you see in town, there is an MPP flag around, and then party faithfuls are very, very expectant, hoping that tomorrow's exercise will be successful. But ahead of that, the flag bearer, Nana Akufo-Addo, has to take a story in some towns in Sunyani, in the Blonahafo region, talking about trains to Refugee, Kenyatta number 1 and Kenyatta number 2, before you come to Sunyani in the evening for the launching of a book, Returning the Elephant to the City. The unfinished business with Ghanaians at the Sunyani Polytechnic auditorium. And then tomorrow, before the Congress, now even before the Congress, Akufo-Addo is hoping to have an interaction with the traditional council here in Sunyani. So that is the expectation here.
So tell us much more about what we were told earlier. Information we picked up earlier suggested that the chiefs and people of the town were against the NPP having this particular Congress in the region or in the town. Tell us much more about it. We were told there was a meeting ongoing to officially send a sort of a communique to the NPP to that effect. How true is this?
Yes, that came to our attention, and when we did our checks, which of course we are still doing, from the NPP regional office, the regional secretary, Alfred Ofori-Anye, confirmed that indeed the Traditional Council is having a meeting, but as to what they are discussing, he cannot really confirm. But what he confirmed for Joy News is that this morning he sent an official letter to the council informing them of tomorrow's Congress and also alerting them that for seeking the approval, that Nana Akufo-Addo would want to have audience with them at the council tomorrow, and that is what they are waiting for a reply from the Traditional Council. But whether they are discussing is centered on preventing the New Patriotic Party from having their Congress in Sunyani, I'm sure after the meeting by the Traditional Council, we get details of that.
Many thanks for that update. Precious Seme for joining us live from the Bunahafo Regional Capital, Sunyani. And like I said, we'll bring you a comprehensive coverage of that particular emergency congress of the New Patriotic Party. Do stay with this particular channel, Joy News here on Multi TV. Let's still stay with the NPP. And an Accra Human Rights Court has thrown out an application by suspended NPP chairman Paul Afoko seeking to prevent tomorrow's emergency extraordinary congress from discussing his suspension. Kwachi Afreniama was in court and joins me on phone now with details. So, Afre, why was Mr. Afoko's application thrown out in the first place?
First, Chenchahena, it's interesting how events unfolded in court today because, as you may know, this was an ex parte application. So the expectation was that it would be simply Mr. Paul Afoko's legal representatives who would be in court. But the legal team of the MPP got wind of it and quickly rushed to court. The team was led by Godfrey Dami. You had Dr. Opoku say, Professor Michael Quay, who is also chairman of the party's legal and constitutional committee, and Nano Bribuahin, deputy general secretary of the party, who argued that the December 19 Congress has nothing to do with the removal of Mr. Afoko. And although Chenchahene, the suspended chairman's legal team, challenged this claim, the presiding judge, Anthony Abua, ruled that, one, to succeed with an application of this nature, Mr. Paul Afoko must prove that there will be irreparable damage should he be removed. But his lawyers had failed to do that, according to the court. The judge added that even if he's removed, he can't challenge the matter in court same way he's in court over his suspension. And the second key reason the judge gave was that against the backdrop of failing to provide sufficient evidence to the court, he cannot grant the injunction, looking at the huge investment that political parties and, that the huge investment that goes into organizing programs like what the MPPs are having tomorrow.
Well, Afra, I do know that you have also been speaking to the lawyers of Mr. Paul Afoko. What exactly have they been telling you?
Well, Mr. Paul Afoko's lawyers declined comment to the media, but legal representative, one of the legal representatives of the MPP, and Nano Bribuahin, certainly, of course, the deputy general secretary of the party, says that this is certainly great news for the largest opposition party because they see this as clearly an attempt on the part of Mr. Paul Afoko to embarrass the party. It was an attempt to embarrass the MPP, and they are happy that it has gone this way. At the end of the day, if it had gone in the reverse, the news would have been going around that, well, the MPP has lost a case against Mr. Paul Afoko. It would have been circulating on social media and all that. So it comes as a great relief to the party that the judgment has gone their way. They've had their day in court. Victory for the MPP ahead of the very important meeting of delegates, extraordinary conference they have in the Bunahafo Regional Capital of Sunyani tomorrow. Interesting.
Many thanks for that update. Kwachi Afreniama was in court this morning and brought us an update on that particular situation. The situation now is that Mr. Paul Afoko's writ has actually been thrown out of court, and the MPP can go ahead and proceed with that particular emergency congress. We're taking a break here on News Today. When we come back, we'll bring you business. So time now for business, and joining me in studio now with the very latest is Emmanuel Aboje. We have here. Hi, Emmanuel.
Hi, Kwamna. Good afternoon. To be with you again.
Yes, indeed. Just before you came on there, I saw you doing a lot of tax things. I mean,
I know you are too enthused about money. You always mention money when it gets to business. And of course, money is very, very critical, and revenue mobilization as well is critical for any government. And in recent times, the government has been recording rising deficits in its budgets. So there's a call for it to put in place, proper mechanisms to enhance revenue generation.
Interesting.
That's it.
Right. So I'm sure you have a lot more details there.
All right. So pleasure to be with you again on business. This is Emmanuel Aboje, and government is being challenged to put in place a more organized tax administration system to improve revenue mobilization in government in the country. Now, government has emphasized its determination to raise more revenue as part of initiatives to further bring down the country's rising budget deficits. Many believe this has become crucial, especially following decline in the level of foreign and on the African countries. Now, speaking to Joy Business at the launch of the 2015 African Capacity Report, senior knowledge management expert Robert Nantuang said more needs to be done to enhance domestic revenue mobilization.
We need hard capacity, but we also need a soft capacity. In Africa, taxpayers don't think that the money they are paying will be used for the right purpose. If we could succeed in training people and understanding why they pay, and also train tax administrations to be able to account for what they receive, I think we have done almost 60% what is needed. Many countries are still under the threshold of what? Meaning that they're not doing the required effort that they should do to mobilize. Maybe because they don't have the capacity for this, but still there's untapped potential in Africa. So if we do more effort, we'll be able to get there.
Those were the views of a knowledge management expert. Meanwhile, the Finance Ministry has launched a nationwide financial literacy campaign. The initiative is aimed at encouraging more Ghanaians to save. Joseph Chugunulu is a Director of Financial Services at the Finance Ministry.
The point is that if we have a financial system that is working, most monetary policies would be very effective. What it means is that we'll bring the informal sector into the formal system, and therefore most of the policies would be based on the system itself, and therefore would achieve the desired results without the various leakages that occur as it is the situation now. Currently we have a large informal sector, and this large informal sector means that we don't have many people involved within the entire macroeconomic system, and that is why we have challenges with a lot of the monetary policies that the Bank of Ghana tries to come out with, and also some of the fiscal policies as well. So it's from that angle, when we have a lot of educated, financially educated population, they would be using the financial systems, and therefore we would have a handle on the monetary situations of the economy. Our inflation targeting will be working. Most of the targets for the various financial services would be working, and that is how the financial sector plays its role in the economic development.
Director of Financial Services at the Finance Ministry, Joseph Chugunulu. Now, away from the financials, MTN Ghana Foundation says it has, since its establishment, invested over 21.5 million cedis in development projects across the country. This, according to the foundation, involves 102 community development projects in the areas of health, education, and economic empowerment. In this regard, the foundation has donated to the maternity center of the Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital equipment estimated about 130,000 Ghana cedis as part of the 8th anniversary of the foundation. The Executive Secretary of the foundation, Robert Kuzu, spoke to Joy Business.
If you travel around the country, you find out that MTN has footprints in terms of its corporate social investments. Now, our relationship with Korle-Bu Second Floor Labor Ward dates as far back in 2009 when MTN Ghana Foundation came to refurbish the ward and provided medical equipment to them. Now, 6 years down the lane, we are back again to give them additional medical equipment that can enhance their capacity capacity in the health delivery system. And the equipment are 8 mobile examination lamps, radiant warmers, 12 instrument trolleys, 6 multi-function delivery beds, suction machines.
Executive Secretary of the MTN Ghana Foundation, Robert Kuzu. And that's it for business. Join us again at 7 p.m. for more business news updates. Good afternoon and keep watching.
And Gladys Osiro joins me now in studio with the very latest. Hi, Gladys.
Hi, Governor.
I love your outfit.
Thank you.
And I love what I saw back there.
Oh, come on. Stop being naughty.
Right. But what do you have in entertainment today?
Sure. You know, Osibisa, a founding member, Teddy, has turned 80 years. Okay. And it looks like, so far, he's the only founding member who is still
Yeah, you were telling me that yesterday.
Yes. Okay. Yes, so that party happened. And so we get the chance to see exclusive footage of how the party went exactly. You had Nanaya, you had, Pat Thomas's daughter, you had Pat Thomas performing, and of course, Jaduble Ambule, who's never happy after each musical election. So, well, we can just go right away and enjoy some excerpts from the party thrown by Teddy, a founding member of the Osibisa band.
It's played up very well. How the band has played Osibisa music, how the musicians have come and displayed their work, how the public has come in to grace what is happening. You can't buy this. You can never buy this.
All right, so there you got it. Osibisa days relived in modern times. But of course, the Naya was fantastic, and the whole concert was supported by the Ohiabeya band led by Kwame Yeboah, that was. But I can bet you haven't heard Teddy Osei, a founding member of the Osibisa band, performed in like how many years? Well, you get that exclusive right here on Joy News. Enjoy.
Thank you. Kofi Anante Nante, Manchina Manso, Amani Amane, Obio Rubio, Ayadisema Mio, Mi Mami, Mi Babe, Kofi Anante Nante, Aye, Mi Bo, Mi Ko, Kofi, Adwe, Mi Mami. Hey, Jack Toronto, are you there? Let me hear you. Go. Ah, yeah. Too beautiful. 10.
Today here on Joy News Multi TV. My name is Kwabena Chenchen Hene Boateng. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. Enjoy the rest of our bulletins.